Hello, it's me, Daryl, Florida Catholic guy. Been a while since I've done a video. What's been going on for the last month? I've had shingles. That was fun. Finally, I was able to get back to church this morning after about a month with the shingles. It's very painful, and takes forever to get rid of them. But let's see, a lot has happened since my last video. We have this clown that we got as a president that tried to have a debate with Trump, and that went off as well as you thought it would. I know you shouldn't make fun of people with Alzheimer's, but it's kind of hard not to, especially with this guy. I mean,
we got about a 20-minute ETA.
I don't have my ashtray over here.
19 and rescue 19. Respond to is no problem. 13559 Lake Magdalene Drive. Cross streets from Cape Red Avenue and Magdalene Shores Avenue and North Armenia Avenue.
So, let's see. What's going on with the clown we got as president? Well, you know, most of you, I'm sure, have seen the debate. And then, what was it, Thursday or Friday, he had a interview with Steffi Stephanopoulos, the former Clinton advisor that was in charge of covering up Clinton's things with his girlfriend. I did not have relations with that woman. So, some Democrats are trying to get rid of Biden, and the ones around him, excuse me, the one around him, mostly his wife and his criminal son, Hunter, the coke addict. They don't want him dropping out. And it's easy to see why, because Hunter's going to prison. He already got found guilty on one case, and he's got a bunch of other cases coming up. So they need Joe in the White House to give him a pardon. And the thing that's scary is that in Biden's condition that he's in now, the coke addict son, Hunter, is basically running things in the White House, along with the babysitter, Jill. So I don't know. And honestly, I hope they don't take him off the ballot. Trying to get this held right here. Sorry for the bouncing around.
Engine 10. Respond to fire alarm. 2115.
But,
Narrow Landing Drive. Cross streets are Branch Hill Street and North Armenia Avenue.
Meanwhile, we know what Biden's like, but meanwhile, all our enemies know that we're weak. And actually, during that interview with Stephanopoulos, Biden said something that he probably shouldn't have. When he was talking about how he beat Putin and he started NATO, and even though he didn't, then he said that he expanded NATO. Well, see, the thing is that expanding of NATO is the exact reason why Putin went into Ukraine. Because Putin doesn't want NATO nuclear weapons in Ukraine, and who can blame him? And obviously there's other reasons, like Zelensky being the NAZI that he is. He was he was killing Russian citizens, locking them up, and closing down Christian churches. Yeah, you probably haven't heard all that.
28. Respond to chest pain, initial response.
Yeah.
16568.
He's not a good guy.
Cross streets are Leslie Canyon Drive and Carlton Pump Street.
See, this is more comfortable holding the phone like this, but then I gotta hold my cigar on this side, and my ashtray's on that side, and I don't have a thing here. But anyway, I'll make it work. So yeah.
Do you have a key holder on file?
And people are talking like, oh, Putin says he was going to go into Kyiv and take Kyiv in 2 weeks. And the thing is, he was going to. But what happened was, just before he was going to go in, they came up with a peace deal with Ukraine. So Putin, as part of the peace deal, backed off from Ukraine. I'm just looking, there's some kind of rocket or something. Now we got idiots throwing fireworks.
You still on here? 10-4. Kilo 27.
That's what I'm looking at here.
Info for Kilo 26.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's not in the normal area where you'd see rockets from. We also got some lightning. So I don't know if it's an airplane or what. It's also getting brighter. I don't think it's firework.
You there? Go ahead. Hey, I called, the female answered. Well, first of all, did anybody come outside?
Might be a plane. It's coming this way, whatever it is, so.
I tried calling, but they sent me straight to a voicemail. Because we're dismantling, this is not it.
Okay. The number, I spoke with someone, I spoke with the female, told her to step out. But once I identified as law enforcement, they disconnected the phone call.
So
Yeah,
Zelensky was.
Again, where the actual call
Oh, come on, cut the shit, people.
Latest advice is Gonder alert out of Duval County and Simpson.
They've been doing this shit all week since the 4th. And my poor dog has been going crazy. And I've posted on the community page to knock the shit out. Yeah, I think that is a plane. But it pisses me off. The 4th of July is over. And the weekend is pretty much over because tomorrow morning is Monday. Cut the shit! So yeah, that's why Putin went in to Ukraine. And we're on the verge of nuclear war because I swear to God, I'm going to kill these people. But the Ukrainians, back a week or two ago, whatever it was, decided to attack a beach. Well, they didn't actually attack the beach. They sent a rocket over the beach, supposedly to hit some military base that was a few miles away from the beach. And of course, when the
Unknown state. It's gonna be Tango.
interceptors went up to intercept the rocket,
On a silver.
all the explosive ordnance came down on the beach. And of course, rightly so, Putin blames the United States because it's United States weapons. United States people have to enter into target information and use United States satellites and drones to guide it to where the thing is going to go. And I really think Putin wants to nuke the United States. And there was just a poll done in Russia the other day. Something like 35% of Russians believe that Putin should use nukes against Ukraine. That's a big, not a majority, but that's a big percentage of the population that want to use nukes. And we had Russian warships going to Cuba that were right off the coast of the United States doing exercises, rocket launch. I don't know if they actually launched a rocket or what, but they're doing basically practice attacks on the United States. And supposedly Russia said that the submarines and the ships don't have nuclear weapons on them, if you can believe them, which I don't believe it. And Putin has been threatening to send nukes to Cuba, Mexico, and Venezuela, saying that the United States is going to give Ukraine nukes and all these NATO countries that are on Russia's border nukes, then he's going to give our enemies nukes. And oh yeah, he's giving nukes to North Korea too. Probably Iran. And so now North Korea has, it's pretty much certain that they have nukes that can reach the United States. So stuff is going to get real. And the only thing that might stop it, or at least delay it for 4 years, is Trump getting elected. Because Trump has a plan to stop all these wars, and I haven't even talked about Israel yet. That's a whole powder keg ready to go off. If Israel launches a full-scale attack on Lebanon, that's probably just going to drag Russia, China, all the other countries into the, especially the Muslim countries in the Middle East. And it's basically going to be Israel, United States, maybe some European countries against Russia, China, North Korea, all these Muslim countries, and especially Iran. And they all have, or a lot of these countries have nukes, especially Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia, obviously. So it's one crap sandwich, and we're all going to take a bite out of it. So, as for our part, we can't do much about it except for try to elect Trump and hope that things can hold off until he gets in office. And get close to God. You know, all this, stuff is biblical. It's in the Bible. Wars and rumors of wars and channel that I highly recommend. I think I mentioned him before, is NY Prepper. He does a lot of World War III updates. Does a lot of live streams, which are really good. One video I highly recommend you watch is from what we call Culinary Night. And what it is it's basically nuclear attack codes and nuclear arming codes that were broadcast about a couple of months ago. It was right before Israel hit Iran.
Echo Uniform 3-4 on a silver Nissan.
When Israel did a, I think I might have talked about this in another video, but Israel, a couple days before Israel did that small attack they did on Iran, they're going to do a major attack. And our B-52 nuclear bombers were in the air. And for about, I think it was something like 8 or 9 hours, non-stop nuclear attack codes, nuclear launch codes, and targeting codes were all being broadcast to our bombers and probably our submarines. And the guy that was in charge of sending and receiving the codes, his code name was Culinary. He was legendary. He was, positive, upbeat, it's like, hey, it's the end of the world, I don't care, I'm here having fun, and it was really crazy. But it was a serious night, and a lot of us still have shell shock over that we're listening to that, because you could hear, we were so close that the bomb bay doors on the B-52s were open and they were getting ready to launch. Now, most likely it was nukes for Iran. Maybe it could have been conventional weapons. I don't know. Most likely it was nukes, because these were nuclear attack codes and they were arming codes, which arming codes are like cocking the pistol, and all they need to do is get the launch order, and that's it. And somebody asked, it was either the bombers that asked one of the people on the ground, or it was people on the ground asking the bombers, is this real world or exercise? And the reply was real world. And so this, and you could hear the transmission from the bombers, and you could hear the klaxon alarms going off. And the klaxon alarms are the alarms that go off when the bomb bay doors are open, to let the pilot know that the bomb doors are open and ready to go. And just as everything was ready to kick off, they stopped it at the last minute. So, who knows what would have happened. We nuke Iran, and then Russia probably nukes us, and Iran probably launches nukes at Israel. And that could have been it that night, a couple of months ago. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more culinary nights in the future. And it's crazy. So I do recommend, I know it's a 8-9 hour video. I don't expect anybody to watch all 8 or 9 hours, but you can watch for 20 minutes or half hour, even an hour, and you'll get the feel of what that was all about. And it was non-stop like that for 8-9 hours straight. And It was crazy. So, actually, probably the last week or so, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, there's been stuff happening, and it depends on what Putin wants to do. I mean, Ukraine is still attacking Russia, and I think Putin wants to wait for Trump to hopefully get a peace deal. But if Ukraine keeps attacking Russian civilians, it won't take much for him to launch a tactical nuke at Ukraine.
Kilo 47.
So,
Go for it, Doug.
Can we make sure
and
this thing hasn't
and
been
of course,
reconfigured?
obviously, this whole mess with Israel, if that kicks off, then all bets are off. And right now, we don't have any leadership in the U.S. Oh, and the other thing, I think it was in the interview that Biden did with Stephanopoulos.
Nothing.
He says,
Yeah. 2104 hours.
leading up to the debate, the reason why he was off is because, I've been busy talking with world leaders. I've been busy starting wars. He actually said that. He was busy starting wars. Shouldn't be talking like that, Joe. Those are the things you keep to yourself. But, I don't know. I remember the Democrat Party once was the anti-war party. And granted, there's a lot of numbnut Republicans that are pro-war themselves, like Lindsey Graham. He's all for nuking Russia. He wants to nuke Russia. Lindsey Graham, Republican, wants to nuke Russia. You know what that would do? He's a friggin' idiot. And he's not the only one. And the other thing, Benny Johnson, he's a conservative talk show person on YouTube. He
Engine 11.
he had a Republican
Engine 11.
on his
Seems secure. Also update the address 701 Victoria.
Copy that. Show us this one. Those 3 Julia 37 transmitted.
he had a Republican
Julia 37.
House member on. Can't remember who it was. But him, the House member, Tucker Carlson,
2201.
Benny Johnson himself, believe it or not,
Lot 67. At Paradise
and
Park. Cross streets are 8th Street Southwest and Saffold Park Drive.
another Republican or conservative talk person that's been, I don't say anti-Ukraine, they just are against sending all our money to Ukraine. And if you're against sending all our money to Ukraine and sending all the weapons to Ukraine, then Ukraine has a
Should have had 275.
enemies list. And all of them people are on Ukraine's enemy list. Now, does that mean that Ukraine is targeting these people to unalive them or what? I don't know. Why do they have a Why are we giving money to a country that has American citizens on an enemy list simply because they don't agree with sending money to Ukraine? That right there should just cut all funding and all weapons deliveries or anything. Because
DC Rescue 21. DC Rescue 21.
people don't want to talk about it, but
DC Rescue.
you got these conscription teams in Ukraine going out into the streets,
Rescue 21 today.
and
They'll say
they're basically kidnapping civilians off the street, putting a gun in their hand and sending them to the front line. And if you refuse to go, they'll just unalive you right there. And a lot of the men in Ukraine are fleeing to other countries to avoid being sent to their deaths. Because Colonel McGregor, I think it was, he says at minimum the difference between Ukraine deaths and Russian deaths are, for every one Russian that dies, 5 to 10 Ukrainians are dying. And you're not going to win a war against Russia. I'm sorry, you're not. I mean, Putin even said back, well, the first stages of this, that if Ukraine wins, it's nuclear war. Because their goal, Ukraine's goal, our goal, NATO's goal, is to get rid of Russia. They want to just, balkanize Russia. Split, Moscow and all of Russia into several different countries and give some to Ukraine, give some to, Poland, give some to U.S., And it's like Putin said, if there's not going to be a Russia, what's the sense of having a world? Meaning that if you're going to get rid of Russia, he's going to nuke the world. And NATO and U.S. has said that if Russia wins, they're going to nuke Russia. Now, will they? I know Putin's not bluffing, but are our leaders stupid enough to push the button on Russia? Look who's running the country and ask yourself that. Because all the elites, Biden and Democrats and even the Republicans that are pro-war, they'll be living in a bunker for 10, 15 years while we all die. And a lot of them would be happy with that. They wouldn't care. That would be okay with them. More resources for them, right? Of course, all the resources will be nuked, but so I do think that at some point in time, Russia's probably going to use low-yield tactical nukes on Ukraine.
Copy, thank you.
And what happens after that is anybody's guess. how will NATO and the U.S. respond to that? Will we just throw up our hands and say, well, we better stop this now before it gets really bad? Or will they go all in and just nuke Russia? I'd like to think that maybe Putin might wait and hope that Trump wins so we can have peace. But it's a long way until the elections. It is and it isn't. And then you got, I mean, I mentioned the Israel situation, then you got China and Taiwan. China's becoming more provocative, so they're probably going to go into Taiwan.
912 American Eagle Boulevard.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to risk nuclear war with China? Because that whole situation will bring Russia into China. So and then you got North Korea, and it's just a whole powder keg. The whole world's a powder keg, and it's all because of who we got as president. We didn't have any of these problems when we had Trump. It was just when this clown we got in there now became quote-unquote president. And when you look at the state of particularly the United States, how we've turned so far away from God and how we celebrate sin now in this country, worse than it's ever been. This country is worse than Sodom and Gomorrah, and you know what happened to them. So God will not be mocked for long. I mean, he's given us time now to turn to him, turn back to him individually, as a church, and as a country, and as a world. And all we can do on our part is individually, make sure we're right with God. And pray. That's the biggest thing. And if we make it to the elections, vote. And I haven't even gotten into the Catholic side of it with this Pope we got that's now he's going to ban the diocesan Latin masses, which is what I go to. Supposedly it's, I don't know, July 16th, 17th, that there's going to be a new document coming out from the Pope banning all diocesan Latin masses. And he's already excommunicated Archbishop Vigano because he's too traditional. And he actually questioned whether Bergoglio was the real Pope. And that's what set Bergoglio off with excommunicating him. But you notice he won't excommunicate, I call him Mr. Martin, Father, quote-unquote, Father James Martin, S.J. He's a rainbow priest that loves the rainbow sin. And just recently, like the last couple days, he had a statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary that was draped in rainbow crap. Just absolutely sacrilegious and blasphemous. And Bergoglio won't do anything to him. In fact, Bergoglio and Martin, they're two peas in a pod. Bergoglio will go to Martin for advice, and he'll get invited to the Vatican to have an audience with Bergoglio.
Before, you will be needed. There's gonna be no BLS, so you guys can continue in.
So the church is in a big mess too. And I think the church, being in the condition that it is actually causing the world to be like it is.
I don't know
And
location, but we've just received the equipment we needed to run the call. We'll be finishing up here in about a minute. If you want to place us back on that call.
I don't know what's going to happen if they ban my Latin Mass that I go to. I do have FSSP that's in Sarasota, which is like maybe 5 minutes longer of a ride than Mass that I go to, so it's not that big of a deal. But the problem is they're already bursting at the seams. They got standing room only at their Mass. We're pretty much in the same position. So
Rescue 28A. Respond to heart problem.
if even a
912 American Eagle Boulevard. 200
significant percentage of
Plaza West. Cross
our
Street
people,
on Plaza
actually we got 3 Latin Masses in our diocese at different churches. And they're all bursting at the seams, especially ours. And if they all go down there, they're going to have people lining out the door. So nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what's going to happen
2906 Oak Crest Drive.
if that happens. So again, it goes back to prayer. And a little fasting and penance doesn't hurt either. Here's another. I don't think that's a plane. That looks like some kind of rocket. I don't know if you can see it. It might be. Occasionally we have passes from the space station. Might be that, but usually it's not that fast. So I don't know if it's some kind of a rocket or maybe Russia's nuking us. Who knows? I wouldn't mind if Russia nuked us as long as the first bomb landed on my house and just got it over with quick. Actually, my mom feels the same way pretty much. And, my dog, he's doing all right. I was about 3 months late in giving him his heart guard medicine. So before they could give me the new prescription, he had to have a heartworm test. And so he did that Saturday. Because it was Wednesday. I went to his vet because I wanted to get him some medicine for the fireworks. And as it turns out, I probably should have gotten it earlier because I forget the name of the medicine that they gave him, but it works best if you build it up over a couple days. But it did help a lot. During the worst part of it on the 4th, he was okay. It wasn't till the end when it started getting sporadic that he started acting out. And then yesterday there was a bunch that went off that got him all crazy. And the reason I stopped his medicine is because Friday, I kept it going. I figured that they were going to go off from Thursday until tonight probably. But Friday was quiet. There was hardly anything. And then yesterday there was a whole bunch of it, and that got him going. And he didn't have any medicine in his system. So I had to deal with that. So
They called in asked me if you could send someone to the door to let them in.
Copy that.
Thank you. Go to 134.
anyway, that's about all I got. It's been 47 minutes already. And my cigar is almost done. I got a little bit left. But I wanted to get this video out because it's been over a month since the last one. I think that was the one where they had that fire call up here that turned out to be nothing. You know, when I had my shingles, they gave me a week's worth of medicine, and it wasn't a painkiller. So they told me to take Tylenol for the pain, which I did. I was sucking them down like candy. Then I got into booze pretty heavy because, believe it or not, that helped. When you're drunk, you don't feel much of anything, but I didn't like that because, you know, getting into the booze almost on a nightly basis can develop bad habits. So I still drink some, but I've been trying to keep it to 1 to 2 drinks, and not every night, maybe every 2 or 3 nights. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I'm gaining a lot of weight. I gotta get back into some kind of a semblance of a diet. Even if I don't get completely back into the carnivore diet, I want to at least try getting back into like keto. So at least it'll help out a little bit. So I will say good night. God bless you. Thanks for watching. And unless we get nuked, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.